Welcome to Cage Minds. I'm Micah Frankel. BYB Extreme debuts in Albuquerque, New Mexico. BYB 35, January 11th. We have two title fights on the card. The main event, a rematch, a year and a half in the making. James Connelly, my guest at this time, looking to run it back here and grab a title. How you doing, sir?
I'm all good, yeah. Nice to meet you. Yeah, just getting ready for this fight now. Almost there.
Almost there. I heard you're going to be coming out to Albuquerque a little bit early, get acquainted to the elevation.
I'll be there tomorrow. I'll fly out tomorrow morning. I'll do 11 o'clock. I'll land in Albuquerque about 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock on the afternoon. Obviously going back in time and stuff like that. But yeah, I'll be there tomorrow.
Is this camp structured any differently considering it's a rematch?
Yeah, obviously the opponent's style and obviously the amount the rounds, the 3 minute rounds and stuff like that. Getting used to that, getting used to the clinch and stuff like that. So I've had more time for this camp. The camp's been obviously all one. My last Trigon fight was I got the fight when I was in Florida and it was 4 weeks later. So I've had a good 11 weeks now to get used to this sort of Trigon. I've also got a Trigon in my gym now. I've got a Trigon all set up in my gym. I'm the only gym in Europe that's got one, but that's been working well.
How much of a benefit do you feel it is having that battleground there so you're able to, get used to the angles in training?
Yeah, great. You know what I mean? Like, as I say, no one else has got the one. I've actually got the same ring that Barry Jones fought Nelson LT on. That one that had in Wales. I've got that in my gym. I still got their blood on the canvas. I might sell it one day and get some money when it's worth some money or something. But yeah, it's been quality. Obviously getting used to them deep corners and stuff like that. Yeah.
How much different is that going from a traditional ring to the Trigon?
Do you know what I said before in the interview yesterday? I tend to not. I never looked at it like that. I was pretty surprised how big it actually was when I actually saw it in America. The one in England was a bit smaller than the one in America. But as I say, when I went over there to Miami and I looked at that show, I thought I could do something in there. It's not as small as you think it is. I know they've made it that it's the smallest fighting combat service, but nah, I never looked at it like that. I just thought you got to have a fight in there, so you're going to use as much space as you possibly could do. But don't get me wrong in that. Like, I never felt I was fighting in a Trigon when I'm fighting in there, if you know what I mean. Obviously, it's different rule set, 3 minute rounds. You're allowed to clinch. I think you still feel the same as if you was in a square. I don't find any difference in it, to be honest with you. I don't find it makes me fight harder or it makes me have to attack. I don't. I tend to fight when I want to fight, if you know what I mean.
How much of an adjustment period, because you've now mentioned a few times, the length of the rounds and the clinch, how big of an adjustment period was it getting used to those two factors?
Well, getting used to it, I sort of like looked at it as like the clinch and longer rounds, more fitness. The clinch, go back to when you was in school, you know what I mean? Like, be able to hold someone's face and start punching them and holding their back of their head and stuff like that, we just resort back to them sort of tactics. But I don't think I haven't, I mean, like, in sparring, I'm not clinching them and I'm punching them with a glove at the same time and stuff like that. I haven't been learning that sort of way. I've just been learning, I mean, obviously the clinch as far as wrestling terms, the grappling and stuff like that, how to move people and stuff like that. That's the only thing I've done it, I used it for, yeah.
Been at it now for a little bit, this bare knuckle game. What has it been about taking the gloves off that's connected with you and really seeing you be successful?
Even when I was an amateur boxer, I started boxing at 10 years of age, and my first amateur fight was at 11. So, but I remember as I was going through these amateur fights and stuff like, I remember myself thinking to myself, "What if you could take these gloves off? What if I could have a fight with these?" And I remember thinking in my own brain, I remember thinking, "What if?" And then obviously years and years later, look, because no boxer, no bare knuckle fighter right now grew up wanting to be a bare knuckle fighter. It just wasn't about them times. I mean, no one wanted to be. It's weird. Um, but yeah, that's it really.
Was it freeing almost when you got to do it, like something that you've dreamed of for so long? What was that like the first time you took off the gloves and got to do what you'd been dreaming about?
I won't say dreaming about it because you know what I mean. You know what I mean. You got to realise. I just kept on thinking, what it would like to take these gloves off, And then obviously I was going to go pro boxing. I was looking to go pro boxing route. And then I was looking on YouTube one day and I saw the BKB come up in the bare knuckle. And I kept looking at him. I still say, I couldn't believe it was legal, you know, and I couldn't believe that. How do we get involved in that? And someone from Birmingham in England, from where I'm from, they was actually doing it. And I saw them doing it and I thought, and I phoned him up and I said, mate, how can I get involved in that bare knuckle? You know, so that was sort of the adjustment over from forget about gloves now as far as the pro boxing. Let's go straight into the bare knuckle. And the first fight, you know, it was daunting. You know, my first ever bare knuckle fight was 3-minute rounds, 2 minutes each round. That's what everyone gets as far as with the old BKB. That's what we fought. We fought 3 rounds to start with, 5 rounds for a British title, and 7 rounds for a world title. So yeah, I kept on thinking to myself, how am I going to get? How am I going to do 3 rounds and with 2 minutes without getting seriously damaged? You know, I remember that into my head. You know, it was all apprehensive, and that's what you sort of think. But as I say, you have that first fight, and you start understanding that I would say it's not as bad as you think it is. It's the case of you can make it a lot easier for yourself in there. So and then the addiction comes. Then you know what I mean. Like that was for me. You know what I mean. After my now I'm coming on to my 13th bare knuckle fight. I've been in the game for 7 years. So and I ain't stopped since that day in 2018. So obviously the game was made for me. If you know what I mean.
13 fights of experience. Like,
Yeah.
what could you point to as being some of the most crucial adjustments to make to go from being an amateur boxer to a successful bare knuckle boxer?
It's a case of how you throw the punches, how you block the punches, where you should actually hit when you're throwing these punches, how hard. There's loads of little things that I've learned over the years. You know, for one thing, I'll just explain. So I don't like, you know, these things you have to. You're only going to get through experience anyway. So, but as far as when you've got a glove on, like you'll tense your hand. You'll tense your hand. You know, remember, with a glove on, you're always going to punch harder than your hand can take. So what people do when they first come into bare knuckle, that hand's tensed and they're tensing up on it. So it's basically like hitting a brick wall. With bare knuckle, what you don't, you keep this light, and I'll snap it straight at the end. You know, you snap it and you only aim for the nose down. I don't aim for anything unless I'm catching you on your temple. Here, I'm not hitting on no top of the head. I'm not hitting on your forehead. I've done all these things in the past, so you know that my hands are swelling up during the rounds and stuff like this. And now, I mean, praise God, I've never broken my hand in bare knuckle. You know what I mean? But I've had the swollen and stuff like that. But yeah, like little tips like that, like as I say, how to block. You know, they do amateur boxing. We're not even amateur boxing. It could be pro boxing. You just block like that. I don't block in. I block like this. I'll grab the back of my head. I do, and you can punch. You can punch the elbow all you want if you know what I mean. Like that's only going to hurt yourself. So these little things that you'll only learn from. But when I got into the ring and hands were all tense, and I'm trying to block like I'm in boxing here and getting caught here and stuff like this. So I've learned. That's what I've learned off all the experience. You know, from the difference. You know, from how to punch, how to block, and you know stuff like that.
The loads of experience that you've had running this one back, you and LT know each other very well. Do you feel that he has changed that much over the 3 fights that he's had since you guys first met?
Has he changed? He's done. Look what he's done. He's won. I think he's won 2 world titles. He's become fight of the year. He got another fight of the year. But yeah, he's done so much since our fight. You know. But I think with LT, you know, when he gets hit, he's going to resort back to his old self. You know what I mean? But the things as well, forget old self. He likes to fight. He goes and has a fight every time. There's no double jab right hand coming out of him. You know, it's a fight, so you can expect the same of him every time. You know what I mean? But you know, with the wins that he's got and stuff like that, we're going to build a lot of confidence in him. You know, he would do with the people that he's beaten. He's just beaten Barry Jones, stopped him. You know, he's going to build a lot of confidence in him. You know, and that's the best thing you can get out of wins like that. You know, like he's the confidence builder that he gives you, man, you can say you're doing it. You know, so. I see him being the same, just tougher. You know, he's going to come hard this way. You know, what I mean, there's been a lot being said as far as the fans kept on going on about Connelly won this fight. Connelly, well, I never mentioned nothing about it. To be honest with you, I don't really care. But all the fans kept on mentioning it about him too. And so he's got, even though he's the world champ and I'm going to take his title, it's a case of he's got something to prove as well, you know. So, you know, and he's the sort of person that is like me as well. Like, when we've got something to prove, we're going to leave it all on the line, you know. So that's why I know it's going to be a tough, hard fight, you know, and I'm anticipating a tough, hard fight.
The last fight wasn't just a tough, hard fight. It was a all-time great fight that ends up in the Hall of Fame. Did you ever think you'd have a fight, get that kind of recognition?
Well, I had my fight with Franco in 2019. I was the first person to go 7 rounds. If you ever watched that, I think it's got about over 500,000 views on YouTube. Connelly versus Franco, 7 rounder. That I got fight of the year for us as well. So I weren't no stranger to when it had to get down to the nitty gritty. I could have a go, you know what I mean? And I've had fight of the nights and that was fight of the year on that one, and then I got the one with Nelson. So um, yeah, I weren't no stranger to get going in the trenches. You know, if I had to go there, I could go there. You know, and that's why I trained so hard to be able to go there.
There's something then about your style, your toughness, that you have this propensity then for these kind of encounters.
My training, the work I put in, you know, where I'm willing to go, and you know how I am with the fitness and the boxing side of it, and being a fighter. You know, I've been boxing since the age of 10, and my fitness is I own my own gym and stuff like that. So basically, I can go to the gym when I want, and I've got a great team, a cracking team around me. You know, Adrian Sheeran, which is also from Wales, Limphy Valley Boxing Club. Now these people are around me, you know, and as far as like I come from Northfield in Birmingham, you know, like we don't lay down, you know, like and I'm going to have a fight, you know, just like the first time in Miami, you know. So I tend to look at it like uh I ain't gonna let someone just put their hands on me and get away with it, you know. So I'm gonna fight until the death if I have to, you know. So I leave it like that.
Is there any way you think that the fight turns out the same way as the first one, that we get this epic back and forth brawl? Because when I talk to LT, he feels like there's no way that it can be the same.
Yeah, no way it can be the same. I don't think no way it can be the same way it's gonna come out of a draw. You know what I mean? Like, come on, like 2 draws. I'm the only ever me and LT are the only ever fighters to ever get a draw in the Trigon. The Trigon has a 90% knockout ratio, and it's labelled the smallest fighting combat service in the world. You know, me and him are getting a draw out of the thing with the way we are as fighters. So, you know, like I don't know. I'm looking on like trying to get him out of there. To be honest with you, you know, getting fighting in boxing, but whatever I need to do to him, you know. Like, I don't want this fight to go the full distance. You know, I don't. You know, I don't want it to be a fight of the year again. That entails both of us going through some sort of damage. You know, people are like, would you like another fight? No, not really, mate. You know what I mean? I like to just get in there, get the job done, and get out of there. But as I say, it's a tough opponent. So, you know, and yeah, he's coming.
What will the accomplishment mean to you January 11th? You get the job done, you have that title. What would it mean to you?
Everything, you know, everything that the reason I've just put 11 weeks, 10, 11 weeks of my life into the training camp. I've had no Christmas. I haven't been around my kids. I haven't done it all. I've literally done it properly. So, you know, the best man win. You know what I mean? Well, I have no regrets. You know, there's nothing more I could have done. There's nothing more I could do as far as getting ready for this fight. You know, I've done had no days off. I don't mess around in training camp. I don't ever, not once. You know what I mean? I put all on the line for these months of just training, you know. So when I come out there and I get the win out of these, sort of, I have a sense of proudness in me, you know. And I fight for myself. I don't fight for my family and my daughters, and I just keep all them out of this fighting. You know, I fight for myself. So when I go put myself through these grueling training camps and I'm on them hard runs and strength and conditioning and sparrings, and then I win the fight. I get to, you know, it's more for myself. You know, I feel better in myself. It builds character. You know what I mean? That's what I see it as. It builds character in me. You know, it makes me a better person by doing these things.
That sounds like some big sacrifices, the holiday season, the family,
Yeah,
and you've really focused in on your goal.
I always do. I always do, man. This is my 13th bare-knuckle fight. I've never ever once went out on the night out in my training camps. I never once touched a drop of alcohol. I never once. I don't mess around. It's a serious, serious business, you know. And I can't believe that people out there might mess around, like go and eat that extra food or go out with their mates when they shouldn't be going out with their mates. Like, this is serious, you know. The difference between you not putting work in and putting work in is you can get seriously injured. You know, and I'm not going to go in there and put my life on the line and put things on the line by not training properly. You know what I mean? So training, that's a default to me. Like that's going to happen anyway. Me training hard and put myself in the trenches, and especially with a fight like this as well, you have to, you have to put work in. You can't go in against LT trying to just think you're going to half win it, or come in and do a couple of training sessions, or be cocky with it either, or say you're going to do something. You know what I mean? That's why I don't talk like that. I believe in my ability, and I train so hard that when it comes to that night, you know what I mean, may the best man win. You know what I mean? Because I'm going nowhere. And that's the reason you saw the last fight is, and that's why I've got the career I have in this bare knuckle because of the training and stuff like that. But yeah, uh, I'm ready to fight. I'm ready to fight at the end of the day.
If you're not hyped for January 11th, you probably don't have a pulse. James Connelly, it was an absolute pleasure again to talk to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Pleasure.
Interviews are powered by Debbie. Use the checkout code Cage Minds for 10% off and support what we do by picking up some shirts at ziashirts.com. Get your tickets. BYB debuts in the Duke City, January 11th. We'll see you guys out there.